Have you ever felt stuck in your job or unsure if it was time to move on? I did too. And one simple habit helped me change everything. It's a simple one. Um, and it has to do with quotes, affirmations, and journaling because they're great tools for helping us shift mindsets because they're great tools for self-discovery. And in today's mindful moment, our my reflective storytelling, my TED Talk me storytelling, however you want to describe it, I'm going to share how journaling helped me to realize it was time to move on and how to move on. But let's begin with our quote. Sometimes the place that you're used to is not the place that you belong. Hmm. Now, I can't take credit for those wise words. They're actually coming from the wonderful Kibibi Ajanku. But here's three things that I want you to remember. Number one, growth is a sign of life. You're still living. That's a good thing. Number two, growth happens outside of your comfort zone. You gotta grow over there. And number three, new growth requires new surroundings. My name is Maya D, and I'm a storyteller by trade. I share stories through dance, and in more recent times, I've been sharing them through writing, most of which has come from my journaling. And I've got some of those notes right here with me so that I can make sure that I give them to you because journaling encourages self reflection, self awareness, self discovery, and a whole lot of other wonderful things. As a child, my mother encouraged me to journal to process my emotions, my thoughts before she and I would have our conversations. And while she didn't put it that nicely, the result was better communication between us because I had time to process my emotions, to release some of the intense emotions that I had in my small body. So I wanted to share one of my reflections with you. Um, yeah, I want to share one of my reflections with you. So this is where we step into our story time and so forth. Feel free to get cozy. So if you're watching this on a replay, you can go ahead and press pause and then get your cozy stuff. Or if you're watching this while you're doing something else, go ahead and continue that activity. Either way, I encourage you to ask questions because sharing it's caring is the idea behind this. And ideally, in the sharing of my experiences, it'll encourage you to share something. And through that exchange, we both get better. So here we go. Now, as we're going into this, I need you to remember that these reflections are pulled from my journal entries, which means that they're not elaborate works of art, right? But they're actually just an intention to share insights on the ways that journaling has illuminated certain things in my life and been beneficial in my life. So I offer this reflection to those trying to figure out how to get on to the next thing. Here we go. He made us all uncomfortable. He would pull up whenever he wanted and just watch us. I could see his car in the parking lot from the window, but he wasn't a freaky stalker. He was actually our supervisor. As the district manager, he would sit parked and clock the drive through times. 60 seconds was the ideal time, and the person at the first window was responsible for guiding that entire process. The person wearing a headset standing at that front window actually managed two computers screens so that they could take orders, take money, and all of the things and keep it going, right? That person with the headset was responsible for creating a pleasant atmosphere, calculating money, and pacing the experience. I was the person with the headset. After watching my times, he told my store manager to promote me. After 2 years of working at McDonald's, this was years ago. After 2 years at working at McDonald's, my store manager had not promoted me, but her supervisor promoted me twice. The district manager understood I'd grown and no longer belonged in my previous roles and promoted me once to crew trainer and then to shift manager. Hmm, look at that. At 17, I was the youngest person in my cohort, and most of the rest of the people were 25 and older, but this was still a life-changing situation. Say what you want about McDonald's employees, and whatever. This is not about that. I know that I learned life lessons in that process. The courses taught me about managing teams, how to step into unfamiliar situations, how to observe in unfamiliar situations, how to assess environments in order to improve those environments, all of which have guided me to some wonderful things and helped me to navigate space, time, and additional careers. Number one, growth is a sign of life. June and July are not meant for checking emails. At least that's what makes sense to me. I'm a 10-month employee who receives their last physical check around May. So it only makes sense that I would not be working in June or July. I know some of you are thinking some things, right? This is one of the things that I love about being an educator. And some people believe that educators have it easy because we have those 2 months off and that we do all types of wonderful, frivolous things during those 2 months. Maybe they do. That's not how I live my 2 months. I use those 2 months for personal and professional development. During the summer development months, I always find myself reflecting and questioning if I'm going to return to campus, and if so, how I'm going to return to campus. So, as I drove to campus for the fall of 2022, I rode the spectrum of emotions: excitement, anxiety, love, and depression. The truth is, I'd gotten used to my pre pandemic role at the university and then gotten used to my pandemic role at the university. But that week, excuse me, I realized that I didn't fit into either one of those roles anymore. Growing into one role means that you actually grew out of another role. And I had to accept that. Reminder number two, growth happens outside of your comfort zone. I'm pretty sure some of you are like me in acknowledging that we live in a new reality as a result of the pandemic. While things like lockdowns have been removed, there's been ideas and practices put in place that have stayed and have allowed us to learn different things about ourselves. So we live in a different reality. I found myself doing things that I disliked and found myself liking things that I previously detested. They say we are actually our hardest critics. And I know this to be true of my own lived experience because I don't like seeing myself, which seems odd, right? It's like I'm in this video, which means that I'm seeing myself in this video. Let me be more specific. I actually don't like seeing myself dance, seeing images of me dancing. My dislike might seem a little odd because I am a dance educator. But it's my truth, right? COVID-19 actually kicked my nice little body out of my comfort zone and into the virtual world. During that 2021 academic year, both my dance history courses and my West African courses moved into the virtual world. So I literally had to look at myself on video for great periods of time. And in that new reality, I had to record those lectures of myself and I had to sit in these Zoom sessions, right? So, literally doing the thing, seeing the thing that I am uncomfortable with. There were many challenges and I gave up several times. I cried several times. I threw stuff several times. I quit my job in my head several times. I did a lot of journaling, and through it all, I learned a whole lot about myself. So by the time we got to the end of that 2021 semester, I get these two wonderful, like, woohoo, feel good in my soul moments. One was a note from one of the students in my online dance education class. The student commented that I had an ability to create a supportive class culture, even though we had never met in person, and that felt great. The second one was from a fellow professor that asked me to be a guest artist for one of their classes and commented on my ability to build inclusive environments for teaching a dance class in a Zoom setting. Also, like, really good to my soul. In my journal, I wrote about the numerous meetings and the comments that I was receiving, and I began to notice this trend. I noticed that both in the university and outside of the university, I was beginning to serve more as a coach and a consultant. And I started to think, like, neither of these roles require me to be in the classroom all day, but I'm still being efficient and effective. Come on, we like that. Number three, new growth requires new surroundings. So I haven't walked completely away from the university, and I'm not sure that I will because I like academia. And I haven't walked completely away from teaching a dance class, and I don't think that I will because I actually really like those. But I am recognizing that the way that I fit inside of the institution has changed. I began managing people at age 17. And now, decades later, I'm willing to accept that while I used to be in the classroom all day, I no longer have to, that's no longer the place that I belong. There's so much other things. There's so many other things that I could be doing and that are left to be done. There are more ways for me to serve my students and my community than to just be inside of the classroom. Not to say that the classroom is a bad space, but to say that where I am now, it deserves or requires a different space. With this new knowledge comes new growth. I no longer fit where I once stood. I'm carving new spaces and I'm taking up those spaces in different kinds of ways. So in the words of the very wonderful, the very wise Kibibi Ajanku, sometimes the places that you are used to be are not the places that you belong. So remember, growth is a sign of life. Growth happens outside of your comfort zone, and new growth needs new surroundings. Quotes, affirmations, and journaling have been my tools for shifting my mindset for many years now. And I've included some links to some journals and some affirmations in the details below. So remember to check them out. And as a bonus, I have a journal prompt for you. Here we go. What was the last environment you had to leave, and how did you know that it was time to leave? Feel free to share your response in the comments below or just drop a book emoji so that I know that you're here with me. I hope that you've enjoyed this story time, this reflective story time. At a young age, my mother introduced me to the therapeutic qualities of journaling. And because of that, I've made it through these challenging times. I believe that sharing these stories will help someone find the answers to the questions that they have, or just know that they're not alone. After 4 years of collecting these journals and seeing how they helped me, I decided to share them as a blog. And then I was like, you know what? Some people like to read, but then other people like to listen to it. So I pushed myself out of that comfort zone again into coming on live and sharing 30 of my experiences over the next couple of days. This is day 27. So we have a few more days to go. Um, and I hope that if you like this video or found it interesting in any other kind of way, that you like it, subscribe, and join us for the next one. And yeah, that's it. Take care. See you soon.